A long time ago, back in 2020, I made a video that was a part of a series that never got continued. This series was a simple series where I took an animatronic that either had two similar models and I compared the two and gave my personal opinion over them, or I was planning on taking two animatronics with a similar theme and comparing them and deciding which one was better or were they equal. However, I didn't fully ever finish that series, or I never made another video. So today I am going to revive this series and we are going to start making more videos for this series. And I thought, what better way to start it than to remake the first and original video that I ever made for this series. And that is comparing both models for the Home Depot Life Size 2020 and the Home Depot Life Size 2016 to 2019 Dancing Santa made by Pan Asian Creations. So without any further ado, I wanted to get into this, compare both models, and give a pros and cons list of both. What makes each model good and what makes each model bad. And that will be based off of facts and my personal opinion alone. So without any further ado, let's get into this discussion and let's get into this new series.
Family and friends with this life-size 72-inch animated dancing Santa with music. He will be the life of the party while he dances and sings two different Christmas songs.
Have a holly jolly Christmas, and when you walk down the street, ho, 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 ho.
Santa stands a full 72 inches tall and comes complete with a velveteen Santa outfit, detailed beard, and glasses. He is so lifelike, he is sure to be mistaken for the man himself. When the season is over, he collapses to half the size with just a push of a button for easy storage. This Santa is the perfect addition to your home for the next holiday season.
Our battle begins with the 2016 to 2019 life-size Dancing Santa made for Home Depot. Now this Santa Claus, in my personal opinion, was not the best Dancing Santa ever made. However, there are definitely some really bad ones out there, and I could definitely show you a couple. But with that being said, this Santa Claus, while it was definitely far from perfect, it wasn't the worst thing ever. Now personally me, I do think that this Santa was a really big staple in the Home Depot Christmas and Halloween industry. In fact, I believe that he was Home Depot's very first super successful life-size to ever be sold. He was also Home Depot's first life-size Dancing Santa to ever exist. So it definitely is no surprise that this guy paved a path for Home Depot to start getting their feet more deeper into the water of the Christmas and the Halloween industry. However, this guy, while he was pretty well crafted and had decent detail on him for being Pan Asian Creations, he definitely had his negatives. But I wanted to start off by just kind of giving as much positive facts about this animatronic as I possibly could. So I could definitely give this prop this. This animatronic fit the Santa tradition perfectly. I thought that this Santa looked very similar to Santa. The face was decently jolly. I thought the detail on the face was good. His eyes were very beautiful. He had a very nice fluffy white beard. He also had a really nice simplistic Santa suit on. The belt was perfect, and even for my surprise, this Santa followed the same line as all the classic Jimmy props that were made back in the day. And this Santa Claus not only followed that line, but he also brought back the mechanism that allowed animatronics to collapse. Sadly, the collapsibles do take up more room, but it is just awesome to see that Pan Asian Creations still believes in the collapsible animatronic. We could definitely not see that much with their Halloween animatronics, considering the fact that most of their Halloween animatronics are still pole-based. However, I still think Pan Asian Creations definitely put a really nice aspect onto this Santa while actually keeping that there. He also had a really nice rounded base and also a press button that allowed you to turn him on when he was activated. However, he had no volume control and he only had one volume setting, so whatever you got is what you got. Now, with that being said, I wanted to talk about mainly the negatives because this Santa sadly comes with many negative sides to him. While the overall detail on the face was good, I would also say that it was not the best either. And the reason why I say that is because the beard of this Santa Claus was probably one of my biggest pet peeves personally when it came down to what he looked like. Because the beard was very scraggly and scruffy looking. When I think of Santa, I think of a beautiful, perfect, curly or straight beard that is very well kept together. However, this Santa Claus did not have that. His beard just always felt like it was everywhere, and it didn't feel like it was really padded down much. On top of that, I would also say that the face structure was not the best, because I have seen many videos in the past, and many people have reported that this Santa does not always look all there, I guess you could say. And when I say that, I mean he had this tendency to look up at the sky or at the ceiling like he was hallucinating on drugs more than anything. And this Santa did not have the most perfect face for that, and he definitely was not taken seriously in my book. And another thing that really made it hard for me to take this Santa Claus seriously was the dancing and the voice acting for the Santa Claus. The dancing, unlike the 2020 model, was very lazy looking. This Santa never had his arms up next to his sides or kind of out. It always seemed like this Santa always had his arms down. When he danced, it looked like he was just lazily slinging his arms around like he was on some kind of drug. That's why many people call this Santa the crackhead Santa, because this Santa acted like he was on crack or some sort of drug that we did not know what he was on. And this Santa Claus, while he was simplistic and decent looking, definitely did not fit the profile of true Santa Claus. When I think of true Santa Claus, I think of like the 2020 model, the Jimmy 2005 Dancing Santa, or the SVI Singing Santa. This Santa Claus's voice was definitely not fitting that profile. When I think of Santa, I think of a very deep masculine voice, similar to the SVI Santa that was sold these past 3 to 2 years now. And sadly, this Santa did not have the right voice. I thought the voice was very crusty sounding. And this voice, personally, in my opinion, was not the best because it sounded like a kind of more crusty old man trying to cosplay as Santa Claus. However, while that might be the case, I can respect the song decisions, but it was definitely not sang in the best way. I thought it did not fit the swinging of the Santa Claus, and it kind of just felt lazily put together. But what do you expect when it comes down to Pan-Asian Creations sometimes? Pan-Asian Creations is impressive in many ways, but definitely not when it comes to their life-size Santas. However, that will all change here in just a little bit as soon as we start talking about the 2020 model. But my overall opinion on this Santa is that while he is definitely really bad in many ways, and while the voice actor of this Santa was not the best, I would definitely say that this Santa is, like I mentioned before, a big staple in the Home Depot history for Christmas, and also allowing Halloween to start making its way in. And it was also the very first life-size dancing Santa Home Depot ever homed for the Christmas season. And overall, I would say that this guy is very memorable. However, he's definitely not going to be really that missed. But maybe later on in the future, his rarity might increase and many people may start looking for him. But besides that, this animatronic sadly has more of a negative rating, in my personal opinion, than a positive rating.
You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, he's checking it twice, he's gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. Cry, you better not stop, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town, to town. Santa Claus is coming to town.
So So next I wanted to move on to the 2020 model from Home Depot of 2020. Sadly, unlike the other model, this guy was only sold 1 year because he got overshadowed by the SVI Santa Claus. And this model I do personally own. He is actually probably one of my favorite life sizes, and I'll get to the reason why. There's not many critiques I have about this guy. The only biggest critique I think I have is still the dancing mechanism, because the head does not move with the body, so it kind of looks kind of out of place. The other thing I would honestly have to say about this Santa Claus is that I don't still think the voice choice was perfect for this Santa, but it was a much better improvement compared to the last model. This Santa Claus, while he was not the most perfect dancing Santa, comparing him to the prior model, he was much better improved, with a much more beautiful face, a much more brighter red outfit, with less bagginess to him. Pan Asian Creations mastered the appearance of Santa, in my opinion, to the best of their ability. But this one had very similar features to the other one. A very similar face, however, maybe a little more jolly compared to the other one. He was smiling and he looked a lot more happy. On top of that, he didn't look like he was staring up at the ceiling, looking at some kind of illusion that we all couldn't see. Like he was not hallucinating. They also changed up the shoes and gave him a much more better and traditional boot style compared to the other model. They kept the same base and the same kind of mechanisms for that. He was also collapsible. However, one of the biggest things I would point out that they did that I absolutely loved was not only just the beard, but also the belt buckle and the voice and the song choices of this Santa Claus. Now, sadly, again, he was sold for that 1 year, so those are the only critiques I really have about him. However, what really got to me was the song choices. Now, we did have Santa Claus Coming to Town, which was a beautiful sounding version of it. And on top of that, we also had White Christmas, but sung in the tone of the Drifters' White Christmas song. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever, which is why I had to get it, because the Drifters have a beautiful and awesome version of White Christmas. Along with these awesome song choices that they chose for him, I would also say, like I mentioned before, while the voice is not perfect, it's definitely a much higher improvement. Now again, when I think of Santa, I think of a little deeper. This voice got closer to that. However, I still believe that a voice should sound like the SVI Santa Claus or the 2005 Jimmy Life-Size Dancing Santa. But the overall appearance is what really made it for me, besides the song choices. Like I mentioned before, there was a beautiful, much more brighter red outfit to this Santa Claus. They also improved the cufflinks of his fur and also lengthened the beard down a little further to make it look more rounded, long, and more well-groomed. And on top of that, they also gave him a really nice golden belt buckle with a much better design. Overall, this Santa Claus looked a lot more easier on the eyes and did not have the baggy clothes like the other one did. The other one sadly had much baggier clothes, but this one looked like it fit him just perfectly. And I would say Pan Asian Creations overall did a much better job comparing it to this past model that we saw just a minute ago. And while this Santa was only sold 1 year, and I don't think he was very memorable in many ways, personally, in my opinion, I think he was revolutionary for Pan Asian Creations because this animatronic showed improvement, showed promise, but sadly got shut down real quickly and never got the love and appreciation I personally think it deserved. And many people wanted this guy to come back, but that was until SVI made their Santa and Home Depot decided to choose that one over Pan Asian Creations. But that's just part of the marketing. And that's sadly the true story for this guy. However, out of the two models, I would personally pick the 2020 over the 2016. While both are very memorable, both have their pros and cons, I would definitely say the improvement of the 2020 model outweighs the craziness and disaster that the 2016 to 2019 model went through. While the 2019 to 2016 one did improve over time, I definitely think that its past models were just not all there. Its newest model, which was only sold that 1 year, was definitely a much larger improvement. If this Santa does seem to reappear somewhere, I'm hoping that they will either make it even better or try and change up the songs. However, I would say, at the end of the day, both models have their own memorable aspects to them, and they both are a staple in the Home Depot history and future for Halloween and Christmas. But anyways, you all, I would like to know what you all think about both of these models in the comments below. And tell me which model you think reigns superior over this battle. But anyways, you all, I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here. If you did like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. I always try to upload weekly and never try and disappoint you all. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. This is Jimmy Bones signing off. I will talk to you guys in the next video. See ya.